Hey guys, as requested by a lot of you, I'm going to review another video by Sulek. It's this bodybuilder that YouTube keeps pushing. He has these very long and incredibly boring videos. Nobody would be watching him, but because YouTube keeps pushing him by suggesting his videos to everybody, he actually has a lot of views, which motivates him to create more videos, seeing as he earns a lot of money by creating these videos. He's very sick. He has pus coming out of everywhere. He's around 21 years old. Looks like he's in his 30s, if not even 40s. He's one of the sickest people on YouTube, and he has no idea that he's the perfect tool for the agenda. He promotes going to the gym and taking drugs. The gym alone is bad enough, seeing as it makes you incredibly unhealthy and reduces your lifespan significantly. But on top of that, he's a drug addict. And young, impressionable man who will see him will end up also using drugs. And YouTube actually promotes this. It's amazing. You have to be incredibly blind not to see why they promote him. The drugs will, of course, not only also reduce your lifespan and make you incredibly sick, but they will also make you infertile, which is perfect.
Can you believe it? I'm finally back. Well,
I can't believe that you're again sitting there with a bowl of what looks like cereal and milk. It's the same again.
finally back to look at the food intake. So I've already got 3 servings of...
Come on, please wear a tank top. I want to see all of the acne, all of the pus, the drugs and the toxins coming out of your body. Come on. I already see your red tomato face, but I want to see more.
checks. I was actually kind of disappointed. I was scanning around the kitchen. I was looking for a box of Golden Grams that used to be floating around in here. Somebody must have finished them off. But, you know, whatever. Simple carb. I know some dudes would pretty much hype up the checks over any other kind of cereal just because it's rice-based rather than, like, you know, grain or wheat or whatever. But it's, to me, I'm looking at 120 grams of carbs. There's like 3 grams of fat. Basically, I mean, that's actually not true. I was about to say...
All of it is absolute garbage. It's absolute slave food. You have to be incredibly dumb to eat something like cereal. It's so insanely toxic to your body. It actually literally makes you infertile. There's glyphosate, all kinds of other pesticides, so many toxins, anti-nutrients. Rice has arsenic.
Do not even think about skipping. Like, I just looked up the nutrition label, right? Per serving 1 gram of fat in, you know, this little dry checks. Don't just skip over that. That's the absolute worst mistake you could do. In a bulking context, it's not bad, right? Because, of course, you'd be eating more food than you're really tracking. But if you're trying to diet down, you know, you've got to be OCD Mr. Monk level. Like, any amount of ketchup you get, that's 3 grams of carbs. Any amount of extra oil you put in the pan when you made some eggs, that's 5 grams of fat, you know.
That's not true, because if he's talking about seed oils, plant oils, you can't actually digest and absorb these plant oils, seeing as your body is made out of saturated animal fat. If you believe that you're going to get this specific amount of calories from plant oils, then you're incredibly mistaken. You will probably get 20 to 30% of what's on the package, depending on what oil it is.
When it comes to my dieting, not style, but maybe theory, if you could call it that, calories is the #1 factor, right? Because you got to remember, I could eat as perfect food as I want, train as hard as I want for years on end, but if I don't eat enough calories to be in a calorie surplus and actually deposit, well, mass, but primarily muscle onto my frame, I'm not going to get anywhere. I mean, I'll look like a freak, but I'll still be like 220. You know, the only way to actually gain weight is to eat calories in excess.
No, that's not true. The only way to gain this much unnatural weight is to use drugs. There's no other way, seeing as you have an unnatural body. You look like an absolute freak. No woman on earth would find you attractive. It's completely impossible, literally. And I don't mean 1 or 2. I mean literally 0 women on earth. It's just because his body is so far away from how you're naturally supposed to look like that it's impossible to find him in any way attractive. And because he's not good looking, obviously, in general, but also because of all of the acne, he has one of the most unappealing bodies on earth. Yet there's probably men out there who believe, oh yeah, I just need to go to the gym if I'm short or ugly, and then women will find me attractive. No, they will find you even more unattractive.
Of what your body is burning per day. And vice versa, is apparently a hard truth, and from some like TikTok freakout videos I see, apparently it's an argued truth. But the only way to lose body fat, again, same thing but in reverse, you have to eat less calories than your body burns per day, aka a calorie deficit. But apart from that, I'm really trying to get in tons of carbs, my 250 grams of protein-ish. I kind of stay around a gram per pound, right? So right now,
the carbs signal for insulin to be released. Carbs are simply sugar. Of course, he will be diabetic eventually. And it's great for bodybuilding, sure, but it's also very great for aging your body rapidly. That's why you look so old. And a lot of bodybuilders even inject insulin on top of eating a lot of carbohydrates. That and the drugs is the main reason why they look so super old.
I'd usually just do one of these, like 8 ounces, but since breakfast was kind of lower on protein, I'll just double up. And then a pre-made kind of, I forget the brand, but it's like a 5-serving thing of mashed potatoes. So all this adds up. I already tracked it on my phone. I'm going to have to pull it back up. But 100 grams of protein, 20-ish grams of fat, maybe a little more with all the avocado oil I cooked it in.
Does he really not realize that from cooked meat you get a lot less protein? It's of course not bioavailable anymore. Most people understand this. If you look at how much protein a steak has, then what they mean is the raw steak. If you eat raw meat, a cooked steak has maybe 60% of that at best. And that meat looks very overcooked, probably more like 40-50%. And the mashed potatoes, again, just carbohydrates, some oxalates. His meals are overall terrible.
And then this is going to be about 90 grams of carbs, maybe 14 grams of fat, if I remember right. But, that's about...
Again, of course, less because of the starch. It's not easily digested. And is that a microphone by his head here? Is that a Bluetooth microphone? I don't know, but if it is, you have to be incredibly dumb to have Bluetooth next to your head, your brain. Come on, man. Just read anything about that. It completely destroys your brain cells. Not that there's many left there.
Ideally, the best lifts are the ones where it just kind of happens. I walk in and then get my music playing, get warm, and then boom, I'm back in the car like, So we'll see if we get something like that or really get in the zone. But that's it, man. Let's just get started. I feel like I always start with this machine on hamstrings whenever I'm at this specific gym. And this isn't anything incredibly fancy. You can recreate this just by standing on the leg extension at your gym backwards. And honestly, it's a pretty comparable feeling. I'd say this is maybe a little bit better, but just because it's specifically designed to be used this way. So let me actually lower this one notch. But
training your legs is the most useless thing you could possibly do at the gym, seeing as the muscles that you train would never be used in nature, especially the guys who do leg press. You lay or sit there and actually press huge amounts of weights with your legs. That would never in a million years be done in nature. And then you walk around with these huge wobbling legs, which just make you slow. That's it. You just look like a freak. It's incredibly abnormal. And you reduce your lifespan significantly just to have legs that really make you disabled, essentially. It's severe torture. He hates it, literally. You can see and hear that. But he still keeps doing it. And people who hate themselves, who see no meaning to their lives, and so on, depressed people who you should really not be taking any advice from, are the ones who do this. Nobody else does this kind of garbage, especially to this extreme.
Okay, that's enough.
There's just absolutely no purpose to this whatsoever. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is incredible stress for the body. It really doesn't get much worse. It's one of the most, if not the most stressful thing that slaves do. They go to a man-made building full of slaves, and then they use these machines created for slaves, and then all that they do there is reduce their lifespan significantly by decades by lifting man-made metal for no reason at all. And then they go back home. Their testosterone is obviously super low, which is why they need the drugs, seeing as you use up the testosterone for the workouts. That's why people who go to the gym have way lower testosterone than people who don't, obviously, as proven in studies. Also, that's needless to say, hopefully. They can't perform in bed anymore. They sleep 12 to 13 hours a day. All signs of low testosterone. They are very depressed. All of the people who stop going to the gym right away say how much higher their testosterone is, how much better they feel. Overall, it's just something that you don't remember anymore when you go to the gym for even a few months, but most definitely for a few years. You just go, go, go. You completely forget how good you felt before you went to the gym. And then when you stop, you're just like, wow, this is how terrible I felt all of these years. Oh my God, I completely forgot how good life is, how high my testosterone is again and everything once I stopped going to the gym. Okay.
One more like that.
Yeah.
A little heavier.
People from 100 years ago would literally believe that he has some kind of severe mental illness. I don't just say that. That's actually how it would be. It's just because most people on Earth nowadays have mental issues. They don't really see it because when mentally ill people look at other mentally ill people, they don't, of course, see that there's issues.
Making use of my surroundings and getting some assistance.
Oh, that looks so incredibly bad for the joints. He's gonna have such terrible knee problems, for sure. He probably already has. A lot of the so-called bodybuilders, the body destroyers, never talk to their audience about the problems that they are having, except for later on, when they are already in a wheelchair or when they quit going to the gym. Then they admit it. His face is also incredibly red. It always is, but now, especially because of the insane stress, it's absolute torture, very severe torture. I can't anymore. He's such a joke, but he has no idea that he's such a joke. And he would probably go to other guys and say, hey, look, I lifted so many weights for no reason, some man-made metal. And then he can compare himself to the other slaves and say, hey, I lift this much. Can you lift this much man-made metal in this man-made building together with the other slaves? Oh, I can't. I look up to you. You can lift more man-made metal for no reason, just to reduce your lifespan, like a slave who fell for the agenda. And that's how these slaves compare themselves to each other. And they just have no idea. They're so oblivious as to what they are doing. And all that this is a cope. It's what NPCs do. They can't think for themselves, obviously. They just do something that the media tells them to do. All of this comes from the media. And they cope because in nature, they would be doing something completely else. But because they are not allowed to do this, their lives are meaningless. What's up with that cringy
One
guy
more,
there?
at least.
I can't watch this anymore.
So let's roll these bad boys up and see how the fucking legs are looking underneath.
Looks very drugged up.
Oh shit, I gotta stand right between this fucking pole. I like it. What do you think?
I think that you wouldn't be able to run even as fast as a 4-year-old child. You wouldn't be able to do anything that you're naturally supposed to with your body.
Certainly not nothing. Oh, this is what I'm going for too. That line of separation between quad and hamstring.
If you would set this guy out in nature, he would be dead within days because he wouldn't be able to do anything. Just nothing at all.
Basic premise, 12 ounces of flank steak, 2 packs of chicken ramen, so 100-ish grams of carbs right here, 14 of fat, 75 grams.
More glyphosate to make you infertile, not that he needs anything more to make him infertile anyway. And again, just empty carbohydrates, absolutely no micronutrients at all. Actually, because his steaks are so overcooked, he doesn't actually get really any micronutrients almost at all because the water-soluble vitamins, the B vitamins and vitamin C are very heat sensitive. All of them are destroyed. What else is there?
Grams of protein. About, I think I said 10. I might actually go back in and change it. It's probably more like at least 17 grams of fat. So I'll add that up and put it wherever.
If there's some fat in the meat, then he's getting maybe some fat-soluble vitamins which are not destroyed by the heat, but very few. He's most definitely very micronutrient deficient. In the other video that I reviewed, he took some pills, powders. He probably believes that that's how he will get the micronutrients, but he just doesn't realize that those are not bioavailable, that they are synthetic, that you don't actually get anything out of those drugs. It's just drugs on top of drugs.
But not a lot of crazy treats today, though. When it comes to the actual kinds of foods that I'm eating, for the most part, I do look at it as calories in, calories out, right? How many carbs are in it, how many fats are in it, how much protein is in it. But protein is a little different. I do definitely put a lot of emphasis on making sure that the 250 grams of protein that I'm getting in per day is from a high...
You're definitely not, maybe 150 grams maximum, possibly less, and that's because the food is so overcooked. If you actually want proper protein, eat like the old bodybuilders used to do. Eat raw meat and pop in a lot of raw eggs.
I want to make sure that every gram of the 250 I'm getting is from, pretty much up in that 90 range. And that's where you're going to see, I haven't looked at it for a while, but it's chicken, milk, steak, fish, eggs. What else am I missing? Yeah, probably other, animal products, animal meats, right? Shit like that. And as you go...
Eggs don't have all of the amino acids.
Go lower on the scale, you're going to start to see more vegetable proteins, soys, whatnots, wheat proteins, barley proteins, like things along those lines. And that's why I'm not going to really count the protein in bread or the protein in... I'm trying to think what else.
Okay, that's correct. The only thing he's right about.
I don't know, whatever. Right, the protein in that bowl of cereal I have for breakfast, it says 3 grams of protein per serving. Come on, let's be real. You want proteins with a complete amino or acid array.
There's no freaking protein in that garbage. Gluten, for example, is counted as a protein which is indigestible.
Right. Everybody's heard the term complete protein thrown around. So that's, best case scenario, that's in the meats. So any vegetarians or vegans, even worse, not in terms of ethics or values.
There's no need to try to appeal to vegans and vegetarians. We all know that they are dumb slaves.
But in terms of getting a really complete amino acid array, you are at a little bit of a disadvantage. I'm not going to say it's
a huge disadvantage. Come on, just say it how it is. Don't try to appeal to everybody.
Not good to do your soy proteins or whatever. I'm not saying if you eat tofu, it's going to spike your estrogen. That's not the point I'm trying to make.
There you go. There's actually people who look up to this guy. A cereal and noodle eating drug addict who's reducing his lifespan significantly by lifting man-made metal and competing with other slaves in a man-made building for absolutely no reason. He's simply too brainwashed to even realize what he's doing, and the people who watch his videos have also no idea why he's doing that or why other people even follow him, seeing as I said, YouTube is pushing him. They are not conscious of what's really going on. It's just that when social media promotes something, people latch on to it, whatever it is. And when young men, especially the ones who don't have a father, see it, seeing as they need somebody to look up to, and a lot of guys grow up without fathers today, they will watch him. They will just believe that that's what they have to do to maybe impress other guys, maybe girls, which is absolutely delusional. And they will just do it because it's trendy. It's just what you do. If YouTube promotes it, then that's just what I have to do. Look, this guy has a lot of views. It must be something that somebody is into. It must have some kind of meaning. But it doesn't. It's just that YouTube pushes it. They are using him as a tool to promote an agenda. That's what they do with all of the YouTubers who post meaningless but self-destructive content. They are not conscious of it. They keep making these videos because they keep getting views. They believe that it appeals to people, even though in reality they just watch it because YouTube is pushing it, not because people are really into it. They just, as I said, latch on to anything. That way the creator is, of course, motivated to create more videos, and people watch it because it's trendy. They could create anything. There's been so many self-destructive trends that they put out in the last decade especially, and nobody's able to see through it except for me. Thanks for watching.